The electronic properties of the rare earth element make them very strong magnets. And sometimes these strong magnets are used to create new energy.
Renewable energies rely on them. They drive high-tech gadgets and play a vital role in our national defense. Raw earth materials. By the looks of it, the mineral itself appears to have little to no value. But these are significant elements that you use in your everyday life. They're essential components of advanced technologies that make our modern world run and are becoming increasingly important in time. What is it used for? What are some things in our technology?
In technology, do you have an iPod?
Yes.
Okay, do you have a cell phone?
Yes.
Do you have a laptop?
Yes.
You have a color TV?
I do.
See? You have rare earth elements, yeah?
Minerals and metals extracted from the Earth's surface are manufactured into goods. Battery breakthroughs that have miniaturized and pack extra power, computer chips and magnets that are so tiny and lightweight that our electronic gadgets can now fit easily into our pockets, economic and environmental incentives, electric and hybrid vehicles, solar cells, and energy-efficient light bulbs that take pressure off the grid and will save you money in the long run. Many of us, including myself, wouldn't have had a clue about these elements if they weren't pointed out. Another example affects the vibrancy on televisions and computer monitors. The rare metallic element europium is used to make the color red pop, which results in a brighter overall image. What would happen if one day it all stopped and there was no way to import or mine these distinctive minerals?
In order to sustain really America's way of life or the world's way of life, you need these elements in order to go forward.
The elements are dispersed in rock throughout the world, and the reason they are considered rare is because it is a challenge to mine appropriately.
Mining, and especially the processing, creates a mess, environmental mess, because you use very strong acids like hydrofluoric acids or nitric acids to dissolve them and then to separate the trace elements from it. And what to do with it is you have to discharge them or to reuse them.
In the U.S., there are economic and pollution concerns that have stifled production. In China, the environmental regulations aren't as strict and labor costs less. China has been a top producer, but has decided to hold back on its global output in order to stockpile its own reserves and manipulate prices to dominate the world's supply. This move puts domestic companies at an unfair disadvantage. Opponents say the export cap violates the World Trade Organization rule China agreed to, that there should be equal access to raw materials.
University of Buffalo has taken the first step, along with working with counterparts in Washington, D.C., to help design and help implement these rare elements and manufacture them here in the United States to make us a leader once again and be competitive with China. In the budget, there was $200,000 as seed money to start the Material Informatics Center at UB. It helps the goal of a public-private partnership, because by mass producing these particular items, we can then move forward.
Instead of waiting for China's next move, the University of Buffalo is researching a solution which would create synthetics of these elements.
They're just as good as a real thing. It's no difference between, let's say a prescription medication and a generic kind. Basically has the same effect. It's going to help the time it takes in order for producing these minerals. From the beginning to the end phase, just like it is with prescription drugs or anything else, it's 10 to 20 years. So the Material Informatics Center at UB can cut this time in half in order for us to have these products.
New York State Senator Mark Grisanti says he believes it's critical to invest in a new Materials Informatics Center for research and development of synthetics in order to ensure a supply that will fill the demand for these materials, which have skyrocketed in the last decade. These materials are needed in order to produce more green technologies that function to limit greenhouse gas emissions.
Cutting-edge technology that makes our dependency on certain energies less. That's what the focus is here.
Hybrid technology, where the batteries in the car basically use the braking system to generate power that can be stored and used for acceleration in other parts of the car to make it more fuel efficient.
Green technologies are developed with rare earth-based batteries and magnets. Energy from Earth's resources like sun, wind, and water are naturally replenished daily, but without excavating certain elements from the Earth or developing man-made materials through scientific engineering, the platforms for renewable sources of energy wouldn't exist.
Cheap, clean hydropower. It's probably the greenest power you can produce. It's produced, through the processing water through turbines.
And we're talking about machinery that's hundreds of tons, and yet it's balanced and spaced 5/8 of an inch apart. It's really an engineering marvel, but that's the secret to how electricity is produced. The water spinning to the magnets up here creating the electric charge.
This plant produces power and jobs across the state of New York.
I believe that the University of Buffalo has shown it's already effective. It can help actually an entire new cluster of buildings and design and research in the Buffalo-Niagara Medical Corridor. President Tripathi is moving forward, being innovative to make sure that we go ahead and have cutting-edge technology and research.
Elements have unique properties. Different elements are usually added together in small portions to get an effect that neither component could do on its own.
Take the rock, crush it, yeah, until you make a very, very fine powder. Then you have to dissolve it. After this, you have to evaporate it, dissolve it again until you destroy the whole structure of the mineral in which the trace elements are. Then put them in some columns with ion exchange resins, and depending on the atomic number, they started to separate each after other until you get the last elements, lutetium, from the rare earth elements.
These materials are components in protection and security and play a vital role in advanced U.S. military defense. Night vision goggles, communication and guidance systems, precision-guided weapons.
Lightweight vests, lightweight helmets to ensure the safety without giving up the integrity of what the helmets and the vests are used for, but it just makes things safer for our military and our troops. They are actually used in helmets for traumatic brain injury to cut down on that effect.
Scientists are making strides in the health and medical field with new methods to detect, monitor, and treat illnesses using technology built with rare earth elements.
From engineering to biology to physics, they constantly expand and moving forward and are finding new techniques and new ways not only to make our lives a lot easier, but also to make our lives safer.
Producing synthetic materials will not only enhance lifestyles and develop life-saving technology, it will also create jobs for New Yorkers and put the United States at a competitive advantage in the global market.
By being a leader, we can shift what's happening in the U.S. to the Western New York region and also do mass production. I mean, this isn't just done out of a small facility. I mean, it's going to grow. Research is going to grow. Jobs are going to grow.